We will hold them accountable for human trafficking. That's what Missouri Attorney General just said. Sounds noble, right? Protecting victims, going after predators. Except she wasn't talking about predators. She was talking about people collecting signatures for ballot initiative. I am Davy Jones Carpenter, and what I'm about to show you is a blueprint for how democracy dies. Not with things in the streets, but with press releases and ICE raids. Here's what's happening in Missouri right now. A coalition called People Not Politicians Missouri is collecting signatures for a coalition called People Not Politicians Missouri is collecting signatures for a referendum. If they get enough by December 11th, voters will decide whether to reject the state's new congressional map, a map that independent analysts have called one of the most gerrymandered in America. This is how democracy is supposed to work. Citizens petition. Signatures are gathered. The question goes to voters. The people decide. They've already collected over 200,000 signatures. They only need 107,000. But Attorney General Catherine Anaway doesn't want the people to decide. So she called ICE. Here's her exact post from last week. Quote, out-of-state signature collectors are reportedly employing illegal aliens in their efforts to undermine the will of the people's elected representatives. We've launched an investigation into advanced micro-targeting. If anyone is creating an environment for exploitation and human trafficking to thrive, we will hold them accountable. We have referred this matter to ICE, collecting signatures to let voters decide on a map is now undermining the will of the people. Letting citizens vote is human trafficking. This is not law enforcement. This is political warfare dressed in legal language. Here's what they don't tell you. Advanced micro-targeting is a Dallas-based petition gathering firm. Out-of-state petition firms are completely normal. They're legal. Both parties use them. Candidates use them to get on ballots. Ballot initiatives use them across the country. Catherine Anaway knows this. She's not stupid. She's strategic. She's not calling ICE because she found a crime. She's calling ICE because she wants to create fear. She wants petition gatherers to stop working. She wants December 11th to pass without enough signatures being verified. And she knows exactly what ICE has become. But here's what makes this even worse. ICE isn't the only weapon they're using. Secretary of State Dennis Hoskins threw out tens of thousands of signatures, calling them premature. Catherine Anaway filed a federal lawsuit claiming voters can't legally overturn congressional maps at all, despite the Supreme Court already ruling they can. And it gets darker. A federal lawsuit filed this week reveals that GOP-aligned PAC has been paying petition gatherers to quit. Some workers were offered up to $30,000 to abandon the referendum campaign. 28 employees accepted payoffs from 4 different consulting firms. $30,000 to stop democracy. They're not just calling ICE. They're buying people off. They're weaponizing every tool available to prevent Missouri voters from having a voice. Now, let's talk about what ICE has become. We've all seen the videos. Masked agents surrounding vehicles, citizens dragged from cars, people thrown to the ground, families separated on sidewalks, journalists threatened for recording. This is not your grandfather's immigration enforcement. This is a paramilitary force operating with near total impunity. And now, for the first time, it's being deployed against a pro-democracy movement. Think about what that means. If ICE can be called on petition gatherers in Missouri today, what stops them from targeting voter registration drives tomorrow? What stops them from surrounding get out the vote operations in 2026? What stops them from showing up at polling places in immigrant neighborhoods? This is not hypothetical. This is the playbook being written right now. But here's where this story connects to something even bigger. Catherine Hanaway justified this by invoking human trafficking. She positions herself as someone protecting victims of exploitation. Let that sit for a moment, because I need to remind you what the Republican Party promised America. 2024, campaign season, every rally, every podcast. We're going to release the Epstein files. They won. We're going to expose the predators. We're going to protect the children. Kash Patel, now FBI director, sat on the podcast and said, quote, "Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are." He said releasing those files was simple, under direct control of the FBI director. Fast forward to today. Kash Patel is the FBI director, has been for 11 months. And those files, they spent 10 months burying them. February the 27th, Pam Bondi held up a binder, called it Phase 1. Media ran with it. But those documents were already public. They exposed the journalists and researchers, not predators. Theater, not transparency. July the 7th, the Justice Department released a memo, quote, "No client list exists." The most connected predator in modern history ran an operation for decades, and they want you to believe there's no list. It took Congress to voting 427-1 to force their hand. November the 18th, the House passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Only Clay Higgins voted no. November the 19th, Trump signed it into law. Deadline, December the 19th, less than a month from now. But watch what they're doing. Last week, Pam Bondi announced a new investigation into Democrats' ties to Epstein. That investigation, it gives them legal cover to withhold files. The law allows exceptions for active federal investigations. They're not releasing the truth. They're building a new excuse to hide it. So let me connect these dots. In Missouri, a Republican attorney general invokes human trafficking to deploy federal agents against citizens exercising their constitutional rights. Meanwhile, her party spent 10 months actively covering up the files that would expose actual trafficking by actual predators with actual victims. This was never about protecting children. Human trafficking is a weapon. They use it to silence opposition. They use it to justify force. They use it to make you look away while they consolidate power. Here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. This misery story, not on CNN, not in New York Times, not in the Washington Post. The only outlet covering this is Democracy Docket, an independent pro-democracy publication founded by election lawyer Mark Elias. Democracy died in darkness, and the misery attorney general is counting on that darkness. Here's what I need you to understand. Misery is a task case. If this works, if ICE can successfully shut down a ballot initiative using fake trafficking claims, it will be replicated in every swing state by 2026. Two deadlines matter now. December the 11th, Misery's signature deadline. Watch if they make it. December the 19th, the Epstein's files deadline. Watch what they actually release. They're hoping you'll be too busy with the holidays to notice. So what can you do? First, share this video. Catherine Hanaway is scouting on silence. Break it. Second, pay attention to both deadlines. December the 11th for Misery, December the 19th for Epstein. Hold them accountable. Third, support independent media. Outlets that don't answer to corporate boards with government contracts. And remember this moment. Remember that they claimed to protect the children while burying Epstein files. Remember that they invoked human trafficking to stop citizens from voting. Remember that they paid $30,000 to buy off petitions gatherers. And when 2026 comes, vote like democracy depends on it, because it does. Catherine Hanaway thinks you're not paying attention. Prove her wrong. I'm Davy Jones Carpenter. Share this before they bury it.